Hi, this is Frank Taylor with Nature at Your Door, and I'm here with my friend Kayla to answer the question, what snake might be the best first pet snake to get? Since I've been doing Nature at Your Door for the last 3 years, I've featured a lot of snake videos, and I've had a lot of viewers comment that they once were afraid of snakes and now they're not. And have others viewers become so interested in snakes that they've written me and asked me, what would be the best snake to have if I was going to get one for home? And I couldn't think of anybody better to ask than Kayla. She is so knowledgeable. She has so much experience with snakes. Back when I was high school teaching, I had a lot of snakes in my room too. I had 9 different species. So both of us together have learned a whole lot about snakes over the years. But Kayla has these hognose snakes. They're western hognose or plains hognose. They're particular kinds of color morphs that she'll tell you about. And we also have a video that we did together that's just on hognose. So see that one first before you watch this video. So in this video, I'm going to let Kayla explain some of the top reasons why a hognose snake might be the best snake for you. Right here in your backyard. You never know what you're going to find.
First pet snake, you're going to want to get one that you've researched and you know that you can take care of. And second, you want one that's captive bred, that comes from a breeder who has taken care of and established your animal. And by established, I mean they are already feeding, and when they come to you, they're going to be nice and healthy, ready to go. Now, you might think that you could save some money by just getting an animal that's been, plucked out of the woods somewhere from the wild, but you're actually going to be paying more, most likely, in vet bills, because a wild animal usually has not been established on frozen thawed or captive prey, and they're probably going to have parasites from the wild, meaning that your animal may come in sick from the get-go. So it's better environmentally to buy a captive bred snake because if you take one from the wild, a lot of times you're going to be taking a breeding adult, this is subadult, but a breeding animal from the wild. And a lot of species are already on the decline due to habitat loss, human persecution, roads, and so you'd be adding more stress to a native species and a native population. Another reason that hognoses make such a good pet is because they're so docile. Now this right here is Aster. She is my feistiest hognose. And as you can see, she's very calm. This is often how a hognose is. Relaxed. They're reluctant to bite. Now when you're talking about a very first snake for a beginner, a lot of times people will steer you toward a corn snake. And I love corn snakes. And one of those reasons that they're so popular is because they're so docile and relaxed and easygoing. However, a hognose snake is perhaps just as relaxed, if not more. Now, they might be a little bit hissy at first, but looking at Aster, she is my hissiest and spiciest hognose that I have. And, well, she speaks for herself. Another great reason hognose make great pets is that if you get a male hognose, for example, they will be the perfect sized animal for their entire lives in a 20-gallon tank like this one. And the only things that you really need for it, if you have a male hognose who's going to stay smaller, or even a slightly larger tank, for example a female that will get larger, is you need, of course, water, substrate, stuff that they can crawl around and feel safe hiding in, and of course a heat lamp or another heat source that will keep them warm. So it needs to be large enough so they can have one side that is warm and another side that's cool. Since these guys are reptiles, they need to thermoregulate or have heat and cool that they can use to keep their bodies the right temperature. Another easy thing about hognose snakes is that, especially the western ones, they come from a more arid climate. Now, in captivity, that means that you don't have to keep the humidity up very high. In some species of snakes or reptiles, you have to mist down the enclosures and make sure that the humidity is high enough to keep your animal healthy. Whereas with hognose snakes, all you really need is a good nice and dry substrate and a heat source. And as long as they have a humid hide, which is a small little enclosure or box with some moist moss inside of it that they can use when they're about to shed, the rest of it can be just like the humidity of your apartment, like I have here. Now, one of the biggest challenges for a lot of snake owners is feeding your snake. Now, with hognose snakes, they can have a healthy diet of just mice or frozen and thawed rodents. You can feed live, but usually it's easiest to just go to the pet shop or order online your frozen mice. That way you can keep them in the freezer and thaw them out as you need them. Now, with hognose snakes, in the wild, they do tend to eat frogs and toads primarily, but the plains hognose, or the western hognose, is more of a generalist, so they're more ready to take rodents. And we talked about having a captive bred animal in the beginning of the video. Now, a good breeder, and most breeders do, start their baby hognoses, or their hatchlings, on frozen and thawed pinky mice. That way, they will grow up being readily taking pinky mice. So the hognose is actually a very hardy animal. They're not prone to very many illnesses. And the nice thing is that when you get your hognose, they're actually likely to live up to about 20 years in captivity, which we think about that sort of longevity in like our dogs and cats or other pets, but these guys will be with you just as long, if not longer. So they are wonderful friends to have. So just like your dogs and cats, you're going to have these guys for quite a long time. So you might notice I switched up snakes, and that's because I just wanted to talk about how wonderful hognose snakes are. And whenever I encounter somebody who has maybe they're a little afraid of snakes or they've never encountered one, I like to introduce them to this little guy right here. He is an adult male hognose. His name is Mothman, and this is everything he does. He hangs out, he just accepts your love, and he's the sweetest little boy in the world. So docile, and I have not met anyone who hasn't walked away from this little guy and thought, wow, snakes are scary. Because he is just such a joy to hold. He is relaxed, calm, and just, well, look at that face. He's adorable. And so that's the thing with hognose snakes. With their little upturned snout and that smile on their face, they are kind of a non-threatening animal to look at, and they're not what people expect when they see a snake. So, bottom line, hognose snakes are wonderful. They're great for teaching people or introducing people to the world of reptiles and snakes, and that's part of what made them the very first snake I ever fell in love with, and they led to my collection of reptiles that I have now.
Want to thank Kayla for helping me answer this question that so many viewers had posed to me. What would be the best first snake pet? Clearly, the hognose might be that snake for you. I appreciate Kayla enthusiastically sharing her knowledge and her passion for snakes. And thank you for watching this special episode of Nature at Your Door. Remember, if you like what I do, please subscribe to my channel, give me a like, and remember, I cover all things nature, from frogs, toads, salamanders, newts, snakes, turtles, wildflowers, and trees, and fungi. I cover it all. Please check out my playlist for other topics you might be interested in learning more about. Thanks again for watching this episode of Nature at Your Door.